Yeah, maybe, but the racket will talk.
Welcome back to the Racket Will Talk podcast. It's women's semi-finals day, and I'm super excited personally. Are you excited?
Sure. It always is like a pretty quick turnaround when this happened at Slam. You know, you have the last women's quarterfinals and right away the next day it's like, oh, both semis now. But yeah, I'm excited, of course.
Especially because there's a lot of, for us at least, there was a lot of sleep that went on between then. So it was like, watched the matches, went to sleep, wake up, and they're in like not that long. I mean, they do start later today. They're all starting at midnight my time, 1 a.m. your time.
Yes.
Whatever it is, local time. They're all like evening sessions. But yes, I'm super excited. And we yesterday had Amanda Anisimova and Naomi Osaka set up a semi-final match on the other half of the draw. They'll face each other today after Sabalenka and Pegula face. That's on the women's side. It's women's semi-finals day today, but of course, unfortunately, we also have to talk about the men who are also in the tournament. And once again, we're on the same story it's been for like the last 3 slams, where it's felt like boring, and then setting up to a hopeful crescendo in the final. But they've still got another stage to go through before then. So the men's semi-finals will be Djokovic, Alcaraz, and Yannick Sinner against Felix Auger-Aliassime, who's an exciting addition, I think, to that little lineup. Maybe not in terms of what he's going to bring to the match, but I think the people seem to quite like him, and he's an interesting guy. I think it's more interesting than if it were Alex de Minaur. No offense to him.
Sure.
So we will preview the men's quarterfinals first, I think, because there was not much. Can you remember them off by heart, the results?
Yeah. Alcaraz beat Hečka in 3 sets. I don't think there was actually a tiebreak. I think it was all pretty straightforward.
Apparently Lehechka was like okay though.
Yeah, he was pretty good. Yeah.
He did what he needed.
Yeah.
Or did what he could. He didn't do what he needed.
Djokovic
he can't do what he needed.
Djokovic beat Fritz in 4. That was actually probably even closer than the score suggests. So, I mean, shout out to Fritz, who did pretty well. Was apparently worse in the big moments, which is kind of a trend, and this is also more likely against someone who he has lost to 10 times. And then you had Sinner beating Musetti in 3 straightforward sets, and also
he got 6-4 in one of them.
Me saying 3 straightforward sets is actually kind, that's really that's a nice way of putting it. Auger-Aliassime beat de Minaur in 4 sets. That was actually very close. That went over 4 hours.
Very long match. That was a hilariously bad match, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't good, but at the same time, in this week when I've been really quite starved with drama and like excitement and the feeling of a big moment getting to someone, that was actually, even though it was long and there were more interesting matches coming up, I was still relatively pretty invested, and at the end really happy for Felix. So yeah,
I agree. I mean, I was watching it like on the train home. I was committed. I was watching it at my desk. Don't tell anyone that. So great result for Fritz. de Minaur did seem tight. He had leads in the second set. He had a set point to go up 2 sets to love, and then in the 4th set he had a break lead. He was like up 5-2, I think. But like good from Felix. The backhand held up well. Forehand not as aggressive in the last 2 matches, but it was always going to be harder to hit through de Minaur.
And I mean, everything was just lower quality from both, really. That was really,
you could tell they were tight because the net really came into play.
Yeah, no, it was super tight. The serving was tight, and I mean, Felix came through in the end because he actually found pretty good tennis in some like really big moments at the end of sets. So yeah, that's how you win a big match, really, a tight match at least.
And super happy for him because he's like less talked about than the likes of sort of Tsitsipas, Medvedev. Who's the other one? Who's been really bad? Yeah, but Zverev's, he's still kind of about there. I think Felix has, Rude, that kind of. He's and Rune, all these guys who used to be staples of the top 10 are out of it, and Felix not so much talked about because I think he had an injury and whatever, but he hasn't really been on the trajectory that people expected him to be. This is the kind of result that you want from him, even though we are very much expecting a straightforward match next match.
Yeah, I mean, his last semi-final was 4 years ago. If you can imagine, that's such a long time, you know.
Yeah.
I'm like putting myself in the shoes of someone who's like a really dedicated fan who was getting excited in 2021, 2022, and 3 years later, that's a long time. So, you know, I guess I'm excited for those people.
And it felt like he was on the up because he was there or thereabouts in the 2022 Slam season. Very,
yeah, for sure.
You know, should have won that match against Medvedev in Australian Open. Had 5 sets against Nadal in Roland Garros, which only 3 people have done. So, yeah, good to see him back there. Like, and I think that the tennis has improved, the attitude has improved as well. And apparently, according to Nole Fam, he's gone gluten-free.
Huge.
And that's why he's playing so well. Otherwise, good performance from Djokovic, or was it?
I mean, I guess it was a bit harder for him against Rins than it usually is, but I think it's because the gap is just... The tennis gap is not what it once was, you know. I think he still had like decent tactics and he knew what to do, especially on big points. But yeah, I mean, this was really a match about him taking opportunities and Fritz just not doing that. You know, there was one set when Fritz finally broke back, only to play like his worst of his game in the match to get broken again. That's really the type of opportunity that you can't let go of at all. And well, that's what he did. So some regrets to be had for Fritz, I think. I had Djokovic in 5, so I was actually pretty close to that becoming reality, I think. But still,
but you did also say that you should maybe pick Djokovic in 4 because of the fact that...
that's true as well, yeah.
So
but yeah, I mean, Djokovic, you know, of course, huge experience gap, and that's still when you have that much of a lead against someone, that bit of a bigger head-to-head, you also can't expect them to come out and be like perfect mentally, even if the tennis is actually close enough.
Yeah. Yeah. And then on the other 2 quarterfinals, I mean, Alcaraz just going through that really easily. He hasn't dropped a set still, so looking pretty scary because this is, you know, that's kind of meant to be his weakness, the clowning about. And Sinner, all you can say about that match is that Lorenzo Musetti looked great. Before the match, during the match, press conference, very, very handsome guy. And Yannick Sinner is the last elbow sleeve standing in the whole tournament. I don't know about maybe the kids and the doubles and stuff. And
Mukova dropped it, so maybe that's what she lost.
She dropped it? Oh, she took it off?
Yeah.
Oh! God, I was so tired I didn't even notice. Okay, because I was going to get excited about the fact that Naomi's beat 3 elbow sleevers, but...
Nope.
Okay. She's fucking snake. It's a fucking snake. That's why she lost. So we'll move on to the women's quarterfinals because actually, as Sam predicted, they were overall disappointing. Some are kind of more... Some were reasonable disappointments. So first kind of result we had was that Vondrousova pulled out of her quarterfinal against Sabalenka. Just
crushing.
Yeah.
Absolutely crushing. That was probably actually the match I was most looking forward to.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen. Vondrousova was being so great. This really could have been an amazing match, really. And yeah, just wasn't played at all. So Sabalenka through the semi-finals, honestly, you know, we're talking about Pegulas. That's also a very comfortable path to the semis in the end, which, you know, obviously that's not her fault. That's not Pegulas' fault either. That's sometimes how it works. But it's just hard to be like all that excited about that, even that match, because like, well, you both kind of rolled through and then nothing really happened, and now it's repeat of the last final, which actually was actually really good. So that's one thing that can give you hope of that match, I think.
And I think that Sabalenka would have wanted that, because I mentioned, I think it was in the last episode, I mentioned that she hasn't had a tight, important match for a while. She got beat down by Rebecca in Cincinnati, but since then, before that, it was the Wimbledon match against Anisimova. Yeah. So I think she would have wanted that match. Of course, she's happy that she's didn't lose there and she's still in the tournament. But a bit concerning having to play. Maybe she's happy that it's Pegula, but if it were a trickier opponent, if she had to go in against Krejcikova with, what she's had to go through in the tournament so far, 3 days off, it could be tricky for her.
Yeah, I mean, and even against Pegula, like she's favoured in that one, of course, by quite a lot. But I don't know, she beats Pegula like most of the time, but the Miami final wasn't that easy. Your Open final wasn't that easy either. It's not like a walk in the park. It's actually a pretty big step up from
it's
everything.
It's a jog in the park.
It's a run.
I don't know if
it's a run in the park. I mean, after her path, that's very much harder than anything she had to do. So yeah.
The thing is that Pegula's so knowable to these players, and like I don't think she has beaten the best players without them being a little bit weird in some way. Like I can't remember a match. Maybe I guess in the United Cup, but if she kind of shows up with the level that she usually plays, which is a very high level, and I'm that's the first and last time I'll ever say it. I think that the elite know how to deal with that. She has to do something weird, so that's either hoping that your opponent is off it or being more chaotic or more aggressive than usual, like something to change it up to bring up some chaos in there. I think Sabalenka's pretty good at taking care of business, and we're now doing a preview of the semi-final, which we sort of weren't meant to do, but there wasn't much to talk about in those matches because Pegula got past Krejcikova easily as well.
Oh yeah, no, there was just nothing to that. Yeah, I mean, I said it, Krejcikova started really bad in her past 2 matches, and she did that again against Pegula, but this time there was no big opportunity to come back,
she did claw back a little bit.
In the first set.
Yeah, in the second set she broke back. Okay, yeah. Pegula went up a double break and she got one of them back.
Sure, yeah, that's but she was already double break down. That's a long way to go. That's the issue.
I think that perfectly proved your kind of expectations, though, because against someone else, that double break probably would have been a single break, and Krejcikova would have got it back on terms and then maybe held it out until the end of the set. But because it's Pegula, she'd kind of already run away with it. Yeah, it also did feel the way I was worried about it feeling that early morning match. Sure. I think Krejcikova looked a little bit kind of asleep. And Pegula doesn't really bring up the energy on her own. But yeah, gutting for Vondrousova, really, because as you said, great level. So far in the tournament, would have probably been a really good match, and she's a legitimate threat to win this slam. So upsetting for her. She was crying in her practice when she kind of pulled up with that injury. Yeah, just the Sklo sisters, man.
Yeah,
I think we can add Krejcikova into that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Tough scenes. Yeah. And then we had the matches from yesterday, which were, fine. It's the best way I would put it. First one was Anisimova against Swiatek, which obviously had a built-in narrative following up the Wimbledon final. So that's at the last slam. So of course, we mentioned it. Anisimova had to start well. She didn't quite do that. She got broken in the first game, but actually she really was onto it pretty fast to break back. So actually, I take it back. She started pretty well.
She looked like that. I'm so fucking scared.
At first, yeah.
After their first game.
Yeah, she had game points and she still got broken. She was maybe a bit shook.
Yeah, and then also I think she went up 40 love in Iga's game, and Iga got it back to 40-30 maybe.
Yeah.
And I think if she gives you a head start and you can't break and then you go down 2 love,
yeah, there was still a bit of danger here psychologically, but then when she actually got into the match, it turned out she was just a much better player on today, really. Just doing what she had been doing all tournament, serving pretty well, I think. Returning rates really, and taking control of the rallies whenever she could, defending actually sometimes decently well. Not golf level or anything, but for her it was impressive. And yeah, I mean she really was in it mentally as well. Didn't sometimes there were break back some moments like that, and she was still up to all of it. Got broken to start in the second, didn't mind much at all, and she was able to do her thing, do all the right things. I think that's what she said after the match, and I think she called it the biggest win of her career, which I think is very interesting because that's a quarterfinal, which had won before. But I guess it's all that context and all that build up after that final, which felt huge for her mentally.
I think. But maybe this is giving a bit too much credit to her, but like I could see her perspective if you're looking forwards, as in like, sure, maybe the Dubai final, was it Dubai? Doha final, maybe that was a big match, maybe the Sabalenka semi-final, but actually like if she didn't win this match, you'd then think, right, has she now got a little bit of an ego problem, and is that going to be an issue going forwards? Whereas like as it stands, she's completely changed that, and like it feels like it could be a bit of a rivalry. It feels like she's in amongst the best if you can go toe to toe with them in the head to head, in the later stages of these tournaments. So I could see how she might feel that way, and maybe she expected to win the Sabalenka semi-final because she thinks she likes her head to head against her.
Yeah, but that was still the biggest match of her life at that point for sure. But it's best match of her life every month for her. Which, I mean, that's great. I mean, it really feels like it. She's on a whole new level for sure. Might enter the top 5 after.
That's
this
crazy. Because
yeah,
I think we picked her at the beginning of the year to make the top 20 for the first time because she hadn't.
So that was actually pretty well to begin with. Yeah.
It was always a funny stat where it was like 21, and I think maybe there was a bit of COVID rankings that came into that. Like she wasn't like a far outside the top 20 player. This isn't a monumental rise, but what a good season for her. And I think really it's been said a lot, but how impressive to pull out that performance after the baggage from that final. She was kind of given a gift in that Iga wasn't great, right? Is that fair to say?
More than fair. I mean, in some ways, I would say she was pretty bad on serve, especially, which had been, a trend for quite a few of these matches, where it just wasn't on at all. I couldn't really tell why. I thought it was maybe the balls, but I think this was the same in Cincinnati, which she won. It was a little bit confusing. Later on, she said that on Instagram, I think she really didn't want it to be like a topic in press or whatever, that she had been struggling with a foot issue, which I think I knew about, but I assumed it wasn't a big deal because, even against Anivu, she wasn't playing like hampered, injured tennis. She was just kind of not great for on serve, especially just not having really any rhythm on it. She hadn't been practicing, so maybe that contributes. I don't know really. We won't have that much detail. I think she didn't want to give that many details about it. But yeah, and as far as like the actual match, she had bad serving, and it really got into her head. My theory was like, because she had been able to rely so much on that serve to do damage and win those 2 titles from this year. Maybe now when it's not on, she doubts the rest a little. She's like, oh, I'm not serving great, so maybe I can't play well. Period, which I find pretty strange because. What was the rest of your career? It's not like you were soft-butting in 2022. It was actually a much worse serve, but everything else was more solid. She had more confidence in it, but yeah.
It feels like she needs to kind of find a source of confidence from somewhere, as artificial as that might be, that can then like give her some security and like turbo boost the rest of her game to the level that it can be at. And like sometimes she takes it from being on clay. Like the conditions will be pretty similar, but she's on clay. She looks down and goes, I'm safe, and can bring a level that like she could easily play at on hard courts, but just doesn't have that confidence. And we see that as well because like how well she plays in that stretch of the season that's her stretch. Yes, the conditions are good for her, but it kind of at this point also feels like a bit of confidence that's
Yeah.
grounding her, giving like a base decent level to her game. So perhaps now she's kind of relying on the serve a bit. I didn't watch that match because I was at a concert, a very, very, very long concert that started when Felix and Dimonor were one set all, and finished when like Amanda was almost about to close the match. So I missed a lot of tennis from that. But I did watch the majority of the other quarterfinal that was played, which was Osaka against Muchova. Lots of personal investment for me in this one. And I think most people expected Naomi to win this quite easily, mostly based off the Muchova kind of condition from the end of the previous match. But she said it herself in press. She didn't, even though it was straight sets, she didn't find that easy.
It wasn't at all. I mean, Mukova is she's just so good. Like, I think it's pretty absurd. It's not like she's she's 1,000 out here. Mukova, she needs movement. She needs to be able to play sometimes longer rallies and have those like crazy gets and make things physical sometimes. You don't expect her to like be hampered the way she was and still be able to find something really impressive, which was, basically her ball striking, her serving, which really kept her in the match all the way through until, that last game of the set in the first set and then the tiebreak. She really was in it all the way. Could have taken it actually to a third because she served for that second set, but Naomi was actually played a really great return game to keep that in the balance. But yeah.
Yeah, it did feel, the first set felt very, very ATP-ish, where it's like, the first set of a 5-set match, or potential 5-set match, where they kind of are aware of that and they're kind of just focused on their serves. Clean hitting, but no like extraordinary points and not much to get your teeth into. I loved it because I thought it was a real fascinating dynamic, and they both showed up with a high level. No one was tight or anything. I'm wondering if the injury kind of helped Muchova clear her head with how she should play, because it felt so, everything was so decisive, and sometimes when you're watching her you don't get that feeling at all. It's like, I have all these tools but don't always know when to deploy them, and then there's a bizarre choice of slice here. But everything was constructed simply, and she was I was so moved by that.
Yeah, whenever she had anything to bounce on, she did, and she was so accurate, and so but hitting huge, really. Yeah,
this is what I'm always when I'm watching her lose to, like, who was it she lost to? Actually, I have to make an apology, because in one of the previous podcasts I said she lost to someone really bad in Cincinnati, but she actually lost to Gracheva, who I don't believe to be really bad. So sorry, Gracheva. But when she's playing someone like her, sometimes you're watching and thinking, like, just be more aggressive. There's no reason for you to be on the back foot in these rallies. Like, just you're better than this player. Put a little bit more on your shots and then approach the net and finish it. She's got so many ways to win points, but a lot of the time doesn't play with that aggression. And I think, maybe the injury sort of spurred her to want to be more aggressive in this match. I was so scared. Just a I'm not going to say quite luck, but a bit of sharpness, a very loose service game in the first set, and then a kind of good fight back in the second from Naomi to keep it at straight sets. But by no means did she find it a straightforward match.
Yeah, no, she did really well, actually, Naomi, I thought, because it's his opponent who probably injured but also still playing great, so it's not like you're safe. And she had those moments. She got broken first, I think, twice in the second set, and she played her best return game of the match in response each time. So I thought mentally that was super impressive, and she'll need more of that, I think, to continue. Great win. She was super emotional, actually, Naomi. If anything, that's what I'm a tiny bit scared of.
See, I watched the press conference, and I was actually quite buoyed by the fact that she was very much like, I'll know at the end of the tournament, which is hopefully on Saturday, how what to take away from this, and she wasn't really focused on
Okay.
this result, which I maybe in Canada, the whole I'm seeded at the US Open thing, she kind of got herself out of the tournament while she was still in it and was celebrating little wins when maybe she should be focused on. I don't think that's what caused the final to be that way, but I was pretty I was feeling good about how she was, and she's not overexcited about just where she's at. I think she's focused on the whole thing. I am pretty confident that from now on the tournament will be won on tennis. Maybe Sabalenka could choke, but I think I kind of trust Anisimova to not have a performance the way of the Wimbledon final. I trust Naomi to not have a performance of Canada. Yeah, he's saying fingers crossed.
Yeah. I'm hoping for sure.
Yeah, I just think it'll be a tennis tournament.
Yeah, it's obviously it's still got huge potential, this lineup. In any of the remaining matches, but it's so frustrating. I swear it happens every single time. Every time you have this type of great lineup on the WTA, they're still dead, and they're still like, this actually has been really frustrating for me, like all tournament. So many matches when I'm like, oh, this should be really good, and it's not, and it's like every single day. I'm really hoping they can finally like really deliver all of them at the end.
Okay, bunch of questions now.
Okay.
What were your top 3 women's matches of the tournament so far?
Vondrousova, Rybakina, Krejcikova, Townsend, and beyond that, I mean, I'm not even sure. Maybe it's Towson Yarla or something.
Nice. What about like not Mukova, Kostyuk?
That was no. Actually, I like quality-wise. I actually thought yesterday's match was better.
Yeah.
Sure. Maybe Kostia, if anything. Yeah, maybe Kostia, Mukova. I think maybe.
Okay. I thought yesterday was shockingly high quality. Anyway, I'm not going to keep going on about it. Another question. Off the top of your head, is this year, have we had any first-time Slam semi-finalists? I can't think of them.
Wasn't.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, I knew there's going to be someone in there. But everyone else was
and Juva as well. No, I know Juva had last year. No. And she didn't make a semi-final. Okay.
So wrong on 2 counts.
Yeah.
But there've been like a lot of players who have made semi-finals a while ago. Maybe not a lot, but Bencic in Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Not since 2019. The other question. Oh, your picks.
For the women, right? Naomi in 3 and Sabalenka in 3.
Okay. Actually, I realised we haven't really talked about those matches. Previewed the women's semi-finals.
I mean, I guess that's true, yeah. I mean, so we kind of did Sabalenka Pegula already.
Yeah. There's all that needs to be said.
I think it's... Honestly, I think Sabalenka will be fine. Like, the whole didn't play a tough match, I think would be maybe a bigger issue for someone less experienced.
I actually absolutely agree with that. I trust her to be fine.
She has made like 8,000 semi-final at this point, so...
13.
Yeah, and like 8 in a row or something. No, 7 in a row.
Or is it 13 quarterfinals?
Yeah, I think so. Okay, and she won like basically all of them. And she actually 7 of the last 8 semifinals. And honestly, she should have made 8. She was ill against Andreeva that one time. But yeah, I really trust her experience to just be able to bring her a good level to that match, and that should be enough in theory.
But you think Pegula wins a set?
I think it's possible, yes.
I think it will be... Yeah, Sabalenka in 2, I think it will be like less competitive than the final. Yeah. But, maybe and lower quality as well.
Can see that, yeah. I mean,
what about...
Both a bit undercooked, really. A bit.
Say again?
Sabalenka and Pegula are both probably a bit undercooked. So, yeah, if it's not high quality, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah. And then on the other side, you've got Naomi against Anisimova. I think they've only played those 2 times that Anisimova won Roland Garros and Australian Open 2022. By the way, I was looking at that Australian Open, no, not the Australian Open, the Roland Garros in 2022. And do you know who Muchova lost to in that tournament?
I remember she beat Sakari again, or actually for the first time probably.
Mm.
And then Trevisan or something.
No, she would never. She had to retire from injury against Anisimova.
Oh right,
So
yeah, that's true.
All within the first week, we had Naomi Anisimova, Muchova Anisimova, and then like the last two hardcourt slams before this one, we've had Naomi against Muchova first few rounds. Like, it's kind of amazing that these matches have very often been early round matches, and here they are really late on. So Anisimova beat her from match point down in 2022 at the Australian Open. I think that's their one and only hardcourt meeting. And
what a meeting it was. I mean, it was really great, actually.
Yeah, it's literally the time when Andy Murray tried to end her career.
I know.
You know, maybe we've sacrificed Caroline Garcia in this tournament to give Naomi her powers back. Actually, that makes so much sense because Garcia started being good after that tournament. So Andy Murray moved the jinx to Naomi, and then when Caroline Garcia retired, it's died with her, and now Naomi's free.
Interesting theory for sure. but yeah, it's exciting. I mean, from what we have seen, that seems to be a matchup which is pretty even. They both have similar I mean, caliber of weapons off the ground, I would say. My thing is serving return. I trust Naomi a bit more. I think Anisimova is a better returner, and I think Osaka is a better server. Is my thing.
Wow. Actually, no. Naomi's a rubbish returner.
She's been pretty good this tournament, but yeah, no, I think that's probably the biggest difference for either of them. And I think I just trust how sturdy Naomi seems. Like in big moments when it's time to really lock in, when it's at the end of the set or whatever, she's been really, really strong. So I think that bodes well for her. And I do think she's making the final here.
Wow. I have been impressed, and I think it was especially notable for me in last night's match that Naomi hasn't seemed to be rushed. Like, it feels like the game has slowed down for her. And okay, like a lot of that is the improved movement and the improved footwork, but like the last few years I've really thought it's just going too fast for her. She can't get there in time to kind of set up for her ground strokes, but it really didn't look like that yesterday. And that's one thing Anisimova has and does so well, is rushes people. And if Naomi can avoid that, but I think it's...
You know what it is? I think she really trusts herself to rally, like all the time now. It would be interesting to like count how many long rallies she's playing per match at this run compared to like literally any match she's played in the last 2 years. It's so impressive, you know. She's just holding her around all the time. She's hardly ever randomly going for it, and it misses super long or super wide. Because she can just rally, she'll just stay in it, and when a chance comes, she'll take it. But it's really fully like in control of the whole thing, and that's the best version of her we've seen before, of course. But we're really in that territory again.
Do you remember that Pliskova match in Pliskova? I hate when people say Pliskova. In Dubai or something like that, Doha, where she was hitting so hard. And they were both like, I didn't know what was going on, but they were both just, didn't matter if it landed in full on every shot. Yeah, how far we've come. And I agree, like I think this is part of Thomas's game plan, more shape on the shots as well. Like, she's using her the cleanliness of her ground strokes and the fact that she can actually be really precise with them to set up points, build them up like that. And then trusting that she won't miss that final shot.
What she's been saying is that she really trusts her fundamentals, which I think that's always been the thing. I think it was pretty silly when it was all about, oh, I need to volley better or whatever. And it's like, I mean, it would be nice, I guess, but that's really not the priority. The priority is that your base, what you have, which is a pair of some of the best ground stroke on tour, have that really firing and have that be what you actually use to win like 90% of your points, yeah.
Exactly right. This is what I was saying, that too often players try and focus on improving their weaknesses, where it's like, actually use your strengths, especially if they get you to a good place. If you're in a situation where like, oh, I'm not making any progress at all and I'm not having good results because I don't have a backhand, okay, you work on that. But she was pretty good. She was pretty good at winning, certain tournaments. You don't need to try and focus on the weaknesses, especially when it shows that that's affecting her strengths. She was serving such a low percentage and her serves weren't like, her serving was not really the strength that it could be. And because she was so focused on like, oh yeah, I'm going to start sliding on clay, all this kind of crap. She was listening too much to the people rather than having, someone like sturdy old Thomas, who is my favourite coach ever. In her box saying, do what you do best. We don't know what he's saying to her, but it feels like she's going back to, like you say, the fundamentals and simplifying it down.
I think he's just really good at streamlining things and game plans, and that's why maybe you get like this type of like immediate boost, because it's like, oh wow, that's actually really simple and I can actually apply it right away. Which
cut the crap. Last thing from me on this matchup, I think initially I was really scared, but actually Naomi wasn't great in 2022. Okay, Amanda's better now, but she still made that Australian Open match very, very close. So I'm not as worried, maybe this is famous last words, I'm not as worried about this head-to-head as I would be if I was Sabalenka coming into face Anisimova.
And it's too it's not like a huge amount of data, in one of the matches on clay where Anisimova is clearly better, or was clearly better at the time at least. I don't think it's a huge factor, that head-to-head, but I do think Anisimova is playing well enough to win that and to make it a big epic contest. Really, I can see that. I can see a great match. I'm hoping, really, that's what I'm. I have had too many disappointments. I need bangers only from here on out.
Okay. One stat on Anisimova that I saw is that since in this century, American women to reach, or maybe it's American players, wouldn't be surprised, but American
women, yeah.
Okay, to reach semi-finals of slams on 3 different surfaces, it's Venus Williams, Serena Williams, Capriati, and Anisimova. So that's nice. That's a really nice stat.
I guess that's kind of shame that Davenport never made a semi-final on clay, apparently, which I guess makes sense. But
yeah, and I'm sure Coco will be getting there soon. Another stat will be released on our Twitter account, so make sure you're following. I just have to figure it out first, but it's a good one. Okay. Maybe it's an okay one, but follow that if you're interested. Right, we'll talk about what do I think Sabalenka in 2.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go Naomi in 3.
Yay.
And now we can do a preview of the men's semi-finals, which is kind of, as we suggested, careening towards the Sincaraz final we all expected. But Carlos Alcaraz will have to get his first ever hardcourt win against Djokovic first.
Mm-mm. That's the biggest thing that could stand in the way, really.
Well, the only other thing is Felix.
Yeah. And it's not, and Sinner literally just doesn't lose to any. I was saying this about the draw. It's like, it really doesn't matter who's playing in the draw. There is only one guy who can actually beat him, and that's been mostly.
Or if you gave Shapovalov a brain transplant.
Yeah, I guess so. That's how it has unfolded, and I think that's how it will unfold for quite a long time. But anyway, we can start with Sinner Roger team, I guess. I don't think there's much to say.
Yannick's just, he will happily all day. He doesn't even have to bash. He will just hit hard cross court into that backhand, and he will get error after error after error if he does it long enough.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not going to be affected by. He's going to be able to put a lot of Felix's serves back in play. So even if Felix serves at a high percentage, I think he'll be fine. And I think he's not going to be worried about the size of his forehand either, because he can defend really well.
It's kind of tough. I mean, people were talking about it during the quarterfinals, like, oh, well, they're playing just to get beat up on Senna, which I think is kind of cruel, and it also like ignores just how big that match is in and of itself for both Lemina and Felix. But now that we're actually here, it's like, well, I don't think there is much to that match. I'm not expecting anything from it really. I think it would be nice for Felix if he could like get a tiebreak or something. But
yeah. Also, like, the occasion as well. Being in the semi-finals of the US Open, like, that's exciting. It doesn't really and fun to get to the opportunity to play that. It doesn't really. They're not thinking about, oh crap, I'm not going to win.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, how awesome it is that I get the opportunity to be there.
Felix, it's matching his best career results, so that's huge in and of itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it could be a 6-1, 6-2, 6-3 situation.
I think it should be closer sets than against
Really?
City. Yeah, because I think the service and the offense is a bit better. So
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess it depends on how well Felix serves and whether his backhand can hold up. It was pretty good in the de Minaur match, actually, but it's de Minaur's ground strokes coming towards you rather than some of the best ground strokes ever.
Yeah.
The far more exciting match, definitely Djokovic Alcaraz. The last time they played on hard court was the Australian Open, where Djokovic won from a set down, and then their last meeting before then, am I right in saying, was the Roland Garros Olympics final, the heartbreaking Olympics final. And he's had. It's a hard, regardless of their tennis levels, I think it's going to be a hard moment for Alcaraz, because he's had all his biggest heartbreaks of his career have been against Djokovic. I think there's only really been 2. So he is in his head a bit.
That's what it is, I don't think Djokovic has had like a big tennis edge against Alcaraz in really quite a long time. But
I think the Olympic final he was better.
Yeah, but not by much. And there were still like some mental dimensions to that match, I think.
And all of 2023, most of 2023, he was better. Like
on hard courts, yes, he was.
Yeah, hard courts.
But yeah, it really feels like at this point it's all about how that matchup feels and all those moments when it really felt Alcaraz should win, didn't win. I mean, the Australian Open this year was really quite something insofar as Alcaraz completely lost his mind in a set because Djokovic took an MTO and then came back and was playing well. And it got to him like badly. I don't remember.
He's just like the Twitter people.
Oh yeah, no, it's wild. I didn't remember that he was like mimicking Djokovic, like struggling. That's so out of character, That's not who he is. But Djokovic gets in his head like really. It's been wild to see. That's, I guess you should probably try again. That like if we're just comparing what they're doing on the tennis court right now, I think Alcaraz is better and by a good distance. But you just don't feel too confident coming in. I mean, I still think it's Alcaraz in 4, probably. I think that's the most likely scenario. But for the way he's playing, you're not as confident as you should be. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. I also think at this stage of his career, Djokovic really likes playing players he knows how to beat, where he's got that kind of recipe right there. He doesn't have to do too much thinking or like inventiveness, ingenuity in the moment. But I think this is going to be a moment for Carlos. Like, I think he'll, throughout the match, figure it out. He's got like a positive enough energy in this tournament. You know, sometimes he can feel a bit frustrated and angry coming into a tournament or during a tournament, and in that moment you sense, okay, he's gonna he could get frustrated and upset, literally upset and upset, like in that Monfils Cincinnati match last year. This one he feels like good vibes, he's enjoying it. I think he trusts his tennis, so I think he will figure it out. I think 4 sets is a good sort of prediction. I think it might take some time for that to happen, but I do still think he'll win it.
Ultimately I have to trust the tennis I'm seeing from Alcaraz, which is probably his best hard court tennis ever. It's really been exceptional on all front. I mean, I guess we'll talk about it more after that match is done, and maybe we'll have to preview him in the final. But it's really been amazing, and I do think it's good enough for none of what we just talked about to actually matter in the end. I think the racket will indeed do the talking, and that's probably for the best.
So it's funny because it's about him, that quote.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, I think it will matter, but I don't think it will be decisive.
Yeah.
You know, I think it will change the shape of the match, the way that the 10-0 head-to-head against Fritz changed that match, but probably wasn't the only thing in it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that match. I'm looking forward to see, hopefully Felix has a good time out there. I'm looking forward to Anisimova against Naomi.
Yeah.
And Pegula is also there.
She always is. Even when we write her off, she is right back.
I specifically, expressly did not write her off and put her in my power rankings because I said this is the last chance she has to win a slam. If she does it here, you know, congrats, I guess. But I think this is it. Because she's soon going to be old. Yeah. Okay, well, we'll any other bits to note?
No, I mean, we could have done the whole, like, Iga press conference thing, but I do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously seem to have a different take on it than everyone else. So Iga was asked whether she's obviously, the journalist said, you've played a lot of tennis from Wimbledon to Cincinnati to now, both the American tournaments, I guess, to now. Do you feel tired? Do you think you need a break, a mental break? And she got a little bit ratty with the answer to that, which I think kind of, you know, it's like when your friend says to you, why are you in a bad mood? And you go, I'm not in a bad mood. Like, okay, fine. It kind of suggests he maybe does want a break, because I think she overreacted a little bit.
Yeah, I think there are times when I did feel like she would have needed a break. I don't really think it's one of those times, really. But I think it's been really a pattern of I mean, she's been struggling for the past year or so. Obviously got all that better at Wimbledon and whatnot, but broadly that had been the pattern, you know, like some really tough losses. And when you are a journalist who has been covering the sport and who has been covering Świątek as this, like, probably generational talent who really should count on to be at the top of the game, and who had been in a bad way in many ways. So that had been a narrative. Oh, maybe, you know, she needs a break, maybe she needs time away from the sport, whatever. And let's actually give some extra context. This was asked by David Lowe, who is one of the member of our biggest competition, of course, the tennis podcast. You know, we're on their tails, but they are still, probably fair to say, a bit ahead of us as far as audience and what just numbers and
just a bit,
just a tiny bit. But yeah, and basically they had been kind of banging that drum for a while about Świątek and about some other players. Or, you know, players should take more breaks, and, you know, they should do Alcaraz and go to Ibiza and whatnot. So they go in with that narrative that they had been already convinced of. So they go in and they try to put that to Iga, kind of, but I don't think they really wanted it right. And also I think they kind of just ignore the fact that she had been asked that sort of question before, and she really takes kindly to it. Actually, she had another shocker last year at the US Open, and that was the same question. Oh, do you need a mental break, a vacation, or whatever? And she was like, no. And actually, she ended up taking a vacation, but because she had failed a doping test. So, yeah, that's not who really she is at this stage. You know, it's all. She's happy to work. I think she's happy to practice. She's happy to try and get better. And even though the losses are tough, some moments are tough, I think she is overall happy to keep going and motivated by some other things. By the ranking, that's a big thing for her as always. So I think being asked that question so often, and still being asked when she's doing much better than she was before, I think that creates some frustration. But there's still no reason to kind of take it out on David Lowe and be rude to him, which I think is fair to say she was a bit.
Yeah. I think, though, I can understand, like, it's a bit rude to say to someone, you look like you need a mental break. I think that wording of putting mental in there. She also did mention the schedule, which is, she's mentioned before, is awfully designed. It's too busy. She kind of maybe interpreted it as like, it's up to you to take time off, where instead of, look at the tours and the way they're forcing us to play so much. Put some onus on them. But yes, we will. Do you want to do the outro? I don't know if we have anything else to say.
No, the rest of it will be tennis, and hopefully it will be good. It better be. If not, I don't know what I'll be doing, but I'll be big mad. So thank you for listening once more. Just tell us any of your thoughts on the pod, on the matches, on anything that happened this US Open, and we'll talk to you again very, very soon to preview the finals, which should be really exciting. And take care of till then. Enjoy the tennis. Goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, I learned I love tennis way more than I thought I did.